Motivations with Glenn.
Good day, everyone. This is Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. You are tuned into the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. Today, we have some very interesting topics for you today. First, we'd like to give honorable mention and congratulatory remarks to all of the people that participated in remembering September 11, 2021, last week. As you know, last week we mentioned some things about 9/11, some things that occurred, but I had posed one particular question to my co-host, Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams, and that was, what ever happened to the emergency broadcast system? Why was that not activated when the planes hit the towers during the 9/11 attacks at the Pentagon in New York City, and so on and so forth? And I have an answer to that question. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about. First, we like to give congratulatory remarks, or just remarks in general, to the individuals that observed and commemorated and remembered 9/11 as a day of service. Just like Martin Luther King's holiday is a day of service. The students at Pitt Community College participated in an event that they held at the college and invited local uh, polit- political figures and so on and so forth. And that was held on September 11th. It says that the ECU, their motto is, our motto at ECU is service, to serve. So what better way to do it than to honor all those that we lost that day being September 11th. That was from students at ECU, East Carolina University. Also, students too young to remember 9/11 to commemorate the day with service. Those were the students at Pitt Community College. Here's Apostle Jacqueline. Do you have that document?
Yes. Hey, Dr. Glenn, and to our listening audience on today, we are so glad that you took the time to tune in with us on today. Dr. Glenn is holding something, and I'm trying to get over here. I think he has the one that I'm looking at. But hey, we're glad that you came in to hear the information that we have today. And we know that 9/11 was on last week. We were on the air the day before. And I think we were on the 10th, which was that Wednesday, and 9/11 was that Thursday. I thought we were on 9/11, but it was the day after. So we did mention a few things on that particular broadcast, and some things that we're going to go over again today. We know that this is the anniversary, and I think we were way off on that date. We were saying it was the 26th year, and it's what, the 24th year, I believe.
Yes,
That
24.
it's not even the 25th year yet. It's the 24th year, and so we just want to make that correction. on the air, and sometimes, when a thing is not being brought up all the time, we can miss the particular date and how many years it's been. 20 something years is still a long time.
Yeah.
That's been 24 years this year. And so we just wanted to make that correction out because we didn't have that information in front of us, but we knew it was 20 something years. I thought it was that, that this year was the 25th, but it's just the 24th year. So there are a lot of things that we have here. And as Dr. Glenn said, that students too young to remember 9/11 were there to commemorate these particular events at ECU. And I want to tell you that there are a lot of kids now that are not being taught about 9/11. They're not being taught about 9/11. No one is talking to them about it. And I feel like this is something that we need to make sure as a nation stays before our face. Not just to remember that this happened on 9/11, but also, to remind us of what could happen. That it was a one-time event and a one-time only, then we should be remembering that as a nation. But we want to make sure that we also keep in mind that, that there's still enemies that hate the U.S., and we need to be also prepared for in case there's another emergency. Dr. Glenn?
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to go to our first audio clip concerning some of the representatives that participated in a day of service to honor September 11th. It's a 1 minute and 31 second clip. 1 minute, 31 seconds. Here we go.
People also gathered at the 8th annual 9/11 memorial service at Pitt Community College. News 12's Maya Cruz shares how guest speakers honored the lives lost and highlighted the need for unity.
I suspect everyone in the audience who is old enough to remember September 11th, 2001, knows exactly what you were doing, where you were at when you first heard the news about the attacks in the World Trade Center.
A day that lives vividly in the minds of many 24 years later, including Tony Smart, a fire marshal in Winterville.
We were shell-shocked, to say the very least.
Smart was one of many who attended the 9/11 Memorial Program at Pitt Community College, where elected officials like Winterville Councilwoman Dr. Brandy Harrell gave a moving speech honoring the boots on the ground.
As we remember September the 11th, we honor the lives that were lost, the courage of our first responders, and the resilience of our nation.
Keynote speaker Michael Jenkins took to the podium to address the current political climate and the violent scene across the country, calling on Pitt County residents to be the change they want to see.
Are we embracing the fact that courageous people sacrifice their life for our freedom? Are you sacrificing your pride to open a door to be kind to one another?
In Pitt County, Maya Cruz reporting for News 12.
Police have an update on their school zone enforcement after they boosted safety at the start of the school year.
Okay, that was our first audio clip, an only audio clip on members gathering to remember 9/11. We have one document to go with 2 minutes remaining before we go to the break. Then we'll come back with the main focus and topic of our program today. Apostle Jacqueline.
Yes, and Dr. Glenn, it talked about the keynote speaker here, who was Michael Jenkins, and that was at that particular event at Pitt County Community College. It says, we were shell-shocked to say the very least. Smart was one of many who attended the 9/11 memorial program at Pitt County Community College, where elected officials like Winterville Councilwoman Dr. Brandy Harrell gave a moving speech. So that is Pitt County, and not, I believe we mentioned ECU, but we're talking about the college, the community college here, that they also had an event at that particular time. So there were many things that we saw that were being held here in Pitt County that commemorated the 9/11 24th anniversary. And there's one here that talks about the Pitt County first responders here. They honored the lives lost on 9/11 tragedy on its 24th anniversary. So, as we mentioned here, there were many here that celebrated and commemorated that particular terrorist attack that happened on 9/11. We want to just say and also remind you, any of our viewers, that if you would like to call in on today and you would like to have something to say, I want to ask you today, where were you on 9/11? Everybody remembers where they were and what they were doing at that time. I remember, you remember, if you were old enough, and even some of the kids they remember that they were in school and that the school was in a lockdown at that time, or there was some safety precautions. So where were you on 9/11? You can give us a call and call in if you want to call in on this broadcast today. The number here in the studio is 252-756-2008. You can call in and you could be live on the air right here with me and Dr. Glenn on today. Hey, we're getting ready to go out for our first break, and we will be right back with you in a moment. This is Awesome Radio, the Glenn Johnson Show.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
There will be a series of Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forums beginning September 30th to October 10th for Ayden, Grifton, Farmville, Fountain, Winterville, Bethel, Grimesland, and Greenville. The full schedule is on our website, awesomeradionetwork.org. Click on the WECU logo. You will also see a link to a candidate's question form where you can write in questions to the candidates and our moderators will read them for you. You can even be anonymous. For more information, reach us at 252-756-3137. We look forward to your presence at these Pitt County Municipal Candidate Forums for Ayden, Grifton, Farmville, Fountain, Winterville, Bethel, Grimesland, and Greenville, September 30th through October 10th. See the full schedule, dates, times, and locations on our website, awesomeradionetwork.org. Click on the WECU logo. We can be reached at 252-756-3137.
Hello, my name is Daniel from Greenville. We appreciate you for listening to Awesome Radio 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU Radio in Greenville.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. As we were going out to the break, Apostle was asking anyone if they would like to call in with a comment on where they were when September 11th, the attack on the World Trade Center and attack on our nation occurred. I know Apostle has a very interesting story, and I know where I was at, and we're going to share that with you before we get to the document that contains what happened to the emergency broadcast system, followed by other emergency alerts that we should be aware of. And before we end the broadcast, some things that's in the news. For instance, Greenville Police Department have radar stations at school zones throughout Greenville, and they're stopping people for speeding in a school zone. So we'll get to that. And then finally, if we have time, along with school zone, I want to know what happened. Why is there no drug-free school zone signs nowhere in North Carolina that I know of? I know certainly not here in Pitt County, because I've been driving all over Pitt County and other places. I have yet to see a drug-free school zone sign. We have a caller calling in. Caller, you are live on the air on the Glenn Johnson Show. Do you have a comment or question?
Yes, I do. I'm calling in reference to the 9/11 you talking about. I wouldn't forget that day either. I was on my way to work. I lived in Jersey at the time. I worked at Middlesex County Board of Social Service. While I was going, when they said a plane hit the World Trade Center, I'm like, wow, how did I see that? And then, before I got to work, then they said another plane hit. I said, wow, how could that happen?
Yeah.
I didn't understand. And come find out, it was did intentionally. I said, oh my gosh. And then on my lunch hour, when I got to work, my supervisor was in there watching the TV that was showing all the stuff that was happening when the World Trade Center, when the plane hit it. And then on my lunch hour, I went to Walmart. Walmart had a big screen TV as you walk in the door. You could see all the smoke, the people walking, the ashes was all on the people. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
It was like, I don't know what could have happened.
Yeah.
Understand? I said, look at that. That was something else to see. And just knowing the people just intentionally ran to the plane and into the World Trade Center, I was out.
Yeah, I know, and I'm so sorry you had to view that and that trauma. But
Yeah, those people in New York, they were all out on the street just walking and all that. The paper was flying all over the street. I'm like,
yeah,
wow, look at that. I called my son, so I'm turning the TV on. No, he had called me, Mama, you should turn the TV. You should see what happened in World Trade Center. I said, I do. I'm at Walmart. And look, they got a big screen TV here. You can't miss it. I'm like, oh, my God.
yeah. Now, ma'am, are you calling from New Jersey now?
No, I'm in North Carolina now. I moved to North Carolina since then.
Okay, but you're from New Jersey.
Yes, originally, yes.
Yeah, and so am I.
I lived at South Brunswick, and I worked at the Border Service for 35 years, and so it's time to come. So
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
relatives down here, so I
Yeah.
moved back.
Now, I know on that day I had just waken up. I was living in Philadelphia at the time. Like I said, I'm from Jersey also. But I was living in Philadelphia. I had just woke up. I turned on the TV, and it was on every station. No matter what station I turned to, it was on. And so, me being prior military and law enforcement and firefighter, I had my old military camouflage uniform, and I was a member of the Jersey Coast chapter of the American Red Cross Disaster Services. So I grabbed my American Red Cross ID, and I put on my Army fatigues, got on my motorcycle and hit the turnpike, and met up with other motorcyclists who was on the way to render assistance when the state police, New Jersey State Police, gave all of us an escort to Liberty State Park. That's where the Statue of Liberty is in Jersey City. And we stood stationed there, and you sort of saw how many emergency vehicles was there. You could not even count them. It was a humongous amount. Ambulance, fire trucks, police cars, sheriff's cars, you name it, it was there. So
I could imagine. Ooh.
And
my niece used to work there, too. My niece had just left that building 2 years ago.
Yeah, and for the first time in history, the New Jersey Turnpike was free. Anybody could travel the New Jersey Turnpike for free because they wanted people to travel without having to pay because people were trying to, just move either to get away from the disaster or to go help. So for the first time in history, the New Jersey Turnpike was free.
Oh, wow.
That
was a blessing.
It was. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams.
Yes, thank you so much, caller, for calling in because we really appreciate hearing what happened. We know that all across this nation that, and I just wanted to ask you this one question before you hang up. I know all across this nation, it humbled a lot of people and brought people down into prayer and to be more reflective and to look to God concerning that. And I just want to say, did it affect you in that particular way? How did it affect you? Did it cause you to be more, spiritual or looking? What was that effect upon you?
Well, to me, like I was just saying, my niece had just left that building 2 years before that. She worked at I forget what company she worked for, but she had worked on the 11th floor in that building. And I thank God, and I feel sorry for the people. I remember a lady that was pregnant. Somebody helped her get out. And I said, Lord, I thank you for that person helped that woman get out.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes to go before we go to the break. I want to make one more comment to that extent. So, like I said, I met up with these other motorcyclists who were going over to render help, but they were also taking monetary donations to the various fire stations and fire departments in New York City because they got hit real hard. They also dropped off donations to the Red Cross in New York City. So they all, like you just said, and Apostle just said, all those motorcycles I was with, I even saw some of them just stop their motorcycles on the side of the street and kneel, just fall to their knees in prayer.
Yes.
Yes.
And Dr. Glenn, I believe that across this nation, we need to be honoring it. I mean, from the White House on down, they need to,
Oh, yeah.
turn the lights
Yeah.
on, turn the lights on for that, lower the flag at half mast to remember 9/11 and all the people that died and served at that time. I'm like, we need to shake up and wake up. Sometimes we're missing majoring in the minor and minoring in the major.
Yeah.
We need to get that together. I believe that's something we need to remember more effectively as a nation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Not just when one person gets shot and killed, but look at that. It was about 3,000 more people got killed that day.
Yeah, and before September 11th, there was another attack at the World Trade Center. If you recall, I forgot what year it was. I think it was 98, maybe 95, 98, where a bomb went off in the World Trade Center.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, I remember that too. It didn't damage like this time with just something minor.
Yeah. So, it's a god awful thing, but it's something we all have to live with, and we just want to honor all those who lost their lives, and we definitely want to remember September 11th, a day that would not go out of our mind.
Pray. Yeah, pray every day.
I want to thank you, caller. I want to thank you, caller, for calling. We got 40 seconds. We'll be going out on a break. Then we'll be back with 30 more minutes of talk time. Apostle.
Yes. Hey, I want to thank our caller for calling in. And I want to say again, if you want to call in, if there's another caller and you feel like calling in and sharing where you were and what you were doing on that day of 9/11, you are welcome to call in. Our phone number here is 252-756-2008. You can call in and you'll be live on the air. Thank you again, caller. We enjoyed your sharing with us. And we will getting ready to go out on another break. We will be right back in a moment. This is Awesome Radio. Back in a moment.
I am Miss Mary Cox. I'm Keller Thigpen's mother from Awesome Radio.
Can churches or ministries lease their roofs for cell towers? Stay tuned.
It's an important question for your church. Here's attorney David Gibbs Jr. of the Christian Law Association.
Pastor Joe's church building was located on an elevation that made it perfect for a cell tower. And one company had approached him about setting up a tower on the roof of his church. Not knowing the legal details, he contacted us at the Christian Law Association. Our attorneys explained that churches do not have a tax-exempt ministry of leasing space to cellular companies, so the income derived from the lease would be subject to tax. Let me repeat that. If you get income from putting a cell tower on a ministry roof, it is subject to income tax. Further, we suggested that he discuss this issue with his insurance provider, as well as consider how much building access the company would need. The cell tower companies always want access for repairs and the ability to come in at any time they need to. When you have a question concerning cell towers, be sure you know what's in the agreement before you agree, and make sure that you have someone review it so that the law is protected on your side.
Why not get the answers you need for the legal question that's nagging you? Visit christianlaw.org.
We're back. You're listening to The Glenn Johnson Show. You can reach Glenn at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. We are 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. And ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget about our sister station, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Smooth Radio 100.3. Also, we still have our other station, 106.9 FM, WECU, which is our Spanish-speaking broadcast station or channel. So let's not forget about those channels. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to turn our attention to what happened to the radio and television broadcast as a result of the World Trade Center Twin Towers. Whatever happened to the emergency broadcast system. You know, we grew up listening to this thing. If you're my age or Apostle's age, you know what I'm referring to. They would interrupt television, radio with that beep, and it would say something to the fact that this has been an emergency broadcast. If this was an actual emergency, you would have been tuned in for other official instruction. We're to tune in for official government information. And this has been a test of the emergency broadcast system. I can't play the tone because it is illegal to play the tone of the emergency broadcast system unless you're at the emergency broadcast system station. They're the only ones authorized to sound that tone. So, unfortunately, I can't play that tone for you, but let's get to the document. Apostle.
Yes, and just to piggyback off of what Dr. Glenn said, I remember growing up and as a kid and listening to it, and the one thing about it is that every time you turned the channel, it was still on the next channel. You couldn't get past it. You had to sit there and wait until it was over, and then the station came back on. And I'm thinking that I remember I grew up in Detroit, so I was a child in the city, and it would just there was some things I'm trying to remember. I think it was after the news that it came on after the news, and then maybe one more program came on after, and then that was it. TV didn't stay on all night like it does now. You could turn it on and it could be on all night, but it wasn't on all night at that time. It used to go off at a certain time.
Yeah, regular broadcast television that's either analog or a white microwave.
Yeah, we didn't have cable, back then in those days. So I'm just saying we didn't have cable. Doesn't mean it didn't exist, but we didn't have it.
But like you said, it usually came on after news, but since I'm from Jersey, the Jersey Shore, we picked up on the station that was broadcasting out of New York City, like WABC, which is referred to as Circle 7, or CBS, NBC, all those stations broadcast out of New York City was what we were privy to.
Oh, yeah. So let's get to the document that talks about what happened to the radio and television broadcast because of the World Trade Center Twin Towers. It said destruction of the World Trade Center North Tower, which housed several major broadcast towers, caused significant immediate disruption to radio, television signals in New York City. So when the plane hit, there was no broadcasting from there because the particular satellite signal or whatever was on that building.
Yeah, the microwave signal from the big antenna that was atop the World Trade Center.
So, and then it says here, so let's get down to what happened. They were not totally without any signal. This wasn't the only one. So that's what we need you to know what happened. It said leading to the temporary loss of coverage and necessitating rapid rerouting of broadcasts through alternative facilities like the Empire State Building. And that's what we want you to know, that as soon as that went down, that system or that antenna was destroyed, then the Empire State Building antenna was instituted right away.
Which Empire State Building antenna was the original antenna for all the news or station networks in New York City. That's where it was originally until they built the World Trade Center.
Well, and I'm glad to see that, and I just need to say that I believe that every broadcasting place needs to have a backup so that if, something happens to one place, that you're not just out of the signal, and at least they had the good sense to keep it there and not to get rid of it when they upgraded to the Trade Center.
Yeah, well, even when the towers collapsed, there was total disruption. So even I know this for a fact, because I remember, if you go to the second page, Apostle,
yes.
WABC TV Channel 7, which is Circle 7, for example, temporary use facilities in Newark, New Jersey.
Yes. It said widespread transmission failure and it collapsed at 10:28 a.m. All over-the-air television and radio transmissions from the building ceased as entirely. But that doesn't, like I said, it said here that WCBS TV Channel 2 was a notable exception. It had a fully functional backup transmitter and antenna at the Empire State Building that remained on the air throughout the ordeal. It said cable and satellite, the attackers caused no disruption for most viewers who received their TV signal via cable and satellite. These systems did not rely on the WTC antenna. So cable and satellite was still going in spite of those antennas being down.
Yeah, because
so that's how we were able to see it, Dr. Glenn.
Yeah.
It was just that one area, and then they had the backup to kick in, but it didn't affect those that had cable. And, you know, Dr. Glenn and I were talking about what we were doing. And, I mean, I had cable at that time, so I was able to see it on cable. But I had just had surgery the day before, and I'm just, I may as well just give this because I always connected with this time of year that I'm still living 24 years later. But the doctor had given me 2 years to live if I had not had the surgery. He said I'd be gone within 2 years. So I had surgery, you know, a heart procedure the day before, and I was coming downstairs. I was alone, and I was feeling pretty good. So I said, I'm going to go downstairs and get myself something to eat since there's no one here to get it for me. So I went to the kitchen and I went downstairs and I clicked the TV button and turned it on. I said, I can't do anything heavy. They want me to rest. So I'm just going to, you know, get on the couch and get me some covers and get on the couch. So I turned the TV on. And when I turned it on, I thought I was looking at a black and white movie when I saw the plane go into the towers. And then I remember, Dr. Glenn, that I just took the thing and I said, well, I don't know what's this movie, but I'm going to change the channel. So I changed the channel and there it was again. And then I changed the channel and there it was again. And I changed the channel again and there it was again. And I thought, what is this? This is on every channel.
Every channel.
And I remember saying these words, this can't be real. I just thought that I really could not get it together in my mind as to why it was on every channel. And I thought this can't be real. And then I looked and saw the scrolling across the bottom and I said, this is real. Yeah. This is real. This is happening.
Absolutely.
I was literally in, you know, very, very much so in shock to see that this was a real live event that I was watching on that station. Dr. Glenn?
All right, that was Apostle's story that she wanted to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. We have 1 minute, 30 seconds before we go to the next break. Then we'll be back with our final 20 minutes. During those 20 minutes, I would like to get to the alerts in Pitt County, North Carolina, and wireless alerts, which occurs every October here in Pitt County. And you have I think it's WE something. I got to take a look at the document. But you can receive a wireless alert to your cell phone. And that occurs every October. That'll be next month here in Pitt County. And you will receive a text message and a small audible tone that's very low, so it won't hurt or damage anybody that's hearing impaired. So we'll get to those documents when we come back from the break. Apostle will take us out to the break.
We also want to look at why the drug-free school zone signs are no longer there and take a look at that. So when we come back from the break, I know you need to hang on in there and stay tuned because I know you want to know why those signs are no longer located in the school zone.
Matter of fact, let's do that as soon as we come back from the break. Then we'll leave the other stuff for the emergency alerts after that.
So hang in there because this topic is going to be interesting and I know you can't wait to hear it. This is Awesome Radio and we will be right back in a moment. This is the Glenn Johnson Show.
Keep it locked right here to the Glenn Johnson Show.
Hello, my name is Tracy and you're listening to Awesome Radio 107.5 FM 1570 AM WECU Radio. Thank you.
Okay, that was very short. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go right to the document, drug-free school zones in North Carolina. And while we don't see signs saying it's a drug-free school zone, And I know off the top of my head that the North Carolina state doesn't mandate that the signs be posted. But you can very well believe if you see a school, you know there's no drugs belong in that zone. And if you're apprehended with drugs in your possession, it's an automatic felony offense. Apostle.
Yes, but let me tell you something. We remember seeing those signs there. And I just want to say to you today that just because the sign is not there does not mean that the school is not a drug-free zone. They absolutely are, regardless to the sign being there. Okay, so let's just tell you here. Here's a breakdown of why the drug-free school zone signs are typically absent, and we're talking about in Pitt County, because that's where we noticed that we did not see any of them. And it says here, the signs are not required by law. So they don't have to put them up by law, but I remember growing up, the whole time I was growing up, we saw those blue and white signs that said, you know, that it's a drug-free zone, that the school zone was a drug-free zone. And it says in North Carolina, the drug-free school zone is defined as any area within 1,000 feet of school property.
That's right.
So even though you don't see the sign, if you have drugs there, you can't have drugs on campus or near the campus, not just on the school campus, but near the campus.
That's right.
So you get stopped and you have those drugs, you're going to be charged a little heavier than it is with just a regular drug charge. It says this distance is fixed by statute, and the legal consequences for drug violations apply within these zones, regardless of whether there are any signs to indicate it. And that's what I said earlier, is that no matter whether the sign is on there or not, you're gonna pay heavier, and your consequences are going to be much deeper because of the fact that this is a school zone. It said they're focusing on proactive measures. So this is why they're saying as to why they don't have the signs. It says Pitt County Schools policy emphasizes a collaborative relationship with law enforcement officials in establishing effective drug search policies and procedures. The district prioritizes active enforcement and other preventative programs such as DARE over signage. And DARE is a particular drug program. I'm going to say and tell you the truth, you know, I ain't seen or heard nothing about no DARE. Now, maybe I missed it at the meeting.
You have never seen the sheriff's office vehicle with DARE on it riding down the street?
I don't think I missed it, Dr. Glenn.
It's always on the road, operated by a lieutenant.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to make a concerted effort to find out where it is. And I was thinking, as I'm reading this, that it's something that they work with schools with.
Oh, yeah, they work with children at
Do they
schools.
come to the school and talk to them about it?
Most definitely.
What day and time? I work in the school. I ain't never seen these people.
Well, Apostle,
I'm just saying now, maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm not proactive. Maybe I'm not there.
Do you have your phone with you?
Yes.
While we sitting there, Google Pitt County Sheriff's Office DARE program.
But maybe because it's a different, you know, maybe it's for the public schools. Because there are some things that are only for the public schools, you know, that don't apply to other places.
That might be true, but I'm
You
not
know,
sure.
because I know that there are some programs exactly that I was looking for, and I found out that they only go to the public schools. So that could be the problem, and that may be why I could say that I've never seen it. But I'm just feeling like it needs to be all over.
Well, while you're looking for that, we have 5 minutes to go before we go to the break. While we're on that topic of schools, ladies and gentlemen, drunk North Carolina teacher rocks community with classroom meltdown on second day of school. She was holding a half-empty bottle source, and the source is WBTV.com. LaGrange, North Carolina. A teacher at a North Carolina middle school was accused of being drunk in class and pushing students on just the second day of school. Isn't that something?
Yes, Dr. Glenn, but hey, there's a lot. If we were reporting a lot of things that happen in school, we would really be reporting a lot. But to see a teacher drunk at school, that right there is something else, you know. And then I'm wondering, that's being drunk is not the same as drugs. But I'm sure that schools are alcohol-free zone.
Yeah, they are.
You know, they didn't catch the person, they caught them drunk, but didn't catch them actually drinking.
Not only drugs and alcohol, but cigarettes also.
But intoxicated and firearms. You can't come to the school with a firearm, even if it's
Absolutely
in your
not.
car.
Absolutely
you
not.
cannot even have it in your car. So this is something, there's a lot. Maybe we should do a little bit more reporting on some of the things that we see, because every week I see something about something happening in the schools concerning some of the teachers. And let me tell you, I'm gonna say this, and this might not be popular, but it's my own opinion and my own belief, that I believe that they test certain other people that are over certain things. I believe our children are very important. And I believe that drug testing should be mandatory for teachers. You shouldn't have a teacher that's addicted to drugs that comes to school that's inebriated or they're under the influence of drugs and you don't know it.
And especially since somebody else is in their care. And usually when another person's in your care, if depending on what job you work, you're automatically tested, drug tested. So I think you're right. Teachers should be drug tested.
I do believe so. I have always stated so. And I'm sorry, daycare workers, because there's some people that are sometimes, they working in these places and they got their hands over taking care of the kids. They need to be tested to make sure that they're clean. I think that's one of the reasons why they try to keep that pay so low, because they try to keep requirements so low. They need to be paying more money and they need to be drug tested.
And some of them will go off campus for lunch and have a liquid lunch.
Well, and some of them, the fact of it, they went through college drugging the whole time, and now you done came and became a teacher, and you're still drugging. So you need to be competent, I feel like, to be in these positions, and they need to pay more money. I keep saying that, they need to pay more money.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 more minutes for this particular segment, and we're going to really get to focus on emergency alerts here in North Carolina and in Pitt County. So hang in there, because we're going to be doing all that in our final 10 minutes of the broadcast.
And Dr. Glenn, I wanted to say this too, because we're mentioning teachers, with their drinking, or this teacher that was caught drinking. I remember being in school and smelling some alcohol breath. Teacher bending down to help you with your work, and there go that breath. That breath was liquor. They was drinking on the job when I was in middle school. I can never forget that. I didn't do well in that class either.
They was tore up from the floor up.
And then kids know what's going on, because we used to call him Whiskey Pop.
Whiskey Pop?
Yeah, that's the joke we had behind his back, was to call him Whiskey Pop, because that breath had that liquor smell on it. He's down there trying to help you. And I'm thinking, where was the principal and things at that time? I was in Detroit now. Wasn't in this city, but I was in Detroit. And I remember thinking, where were the people that were supposed to police him, that he's up in here drinking and smelling like liquor every single day? Those are some standards that, things have changed a lot. I had a bunch of complaints back from that time, Dr. Glenn, that we don't see now.
I know. All right, we have 1 minute to go before we go to the break. When we come back, we're going to go to emergency alerts, and we're going to start off with types of emergency or types of alerts and warning sign systems. So we're going to start with that document, and then we'll get to this other, because this will be our final 10 minutes. Apostle will take us out to the break.
Hey, Dr. Glenn, I think we need to do one more before we get to that, and that's the heavy police presence in Greenville school zone.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's a very important one, because that affects us here and affects us right now. And I think people need to be aware that you got your foot down. I go in the morning, so I'm out in the morning when the kids are out going to school, so I see a lot of people being pulled over, sometimes looking in the back window, making sure it's not me, that they're not getting me from going too fast in the school zones. I think it serves as a warning, and I think we need to all pay attention to the fact that we're in the school zone and not be speeding at that time. Hey, we're getting ready to go out on the break, and it's not too late. If you still want to call in and you want to have something to say, or you just want to say good day to us. Hey, this is Awesome Radio. We're getting ready to go on our break. This is the Glenn Johnson Show. Right back in a moment.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was very brief. We're going to move on to types of alerts and the meanings of the types of alerts. But Apostle wanted to mention first about this speeding in the school zone in Greenville. Apostle.
Yes, it says Greenville, North Carolina, in just 2 weeks of focused school zone enforcement, August 25th through the 29th and September 1st through the 5th. Now that's already passed, but I want to tell you that in spite of that, there is still a heavy presence, especially in certain areas that I see. There are police officers that are waiting in those school zones and hiding behind other areas just a block away or just in a parking lot, hidden in a parking lot where you go past and you don't see them. So you need to be careful. There's a heavy police presence in the school zones, and we see a lot of them, coming out. And sometimes you could say you don't see them, but they're doing their job very well in the fact that you don't see them, but they're actually there. Dr. Glenn?
Absolutely. You just said, you shouldn't be driving looking to see where there's a police car to avoid getting a ticket. You should be driving according to the law in the first place. And you know doggone well, you shouldn't be traveling at a high rate of speed through a school zone. Everybody knows that. So if you're one of those people, I'll say get a grip. Don't worry about the police car. Worry about how you're driving to prevent hitting someone, God forbid.
And Dr. Glenn, I had this one thing that I saw in one of our papers that I needed to say this before we talk about these alerts real quick before ending the show. It said on March 2025, the General Assembly also passed legislation to create drug-free zones around homeless shelters and services effective December 1, 2025.
Oh, wow, I did not know. I didn't see that. That's good to point that out.
Yeah, for the homeless shelters. Now, imagine how many people that are actually homeless that are actually doing drugs. So that means that you're going to have to be clean to be in the shelter.
To be in the shelter. I think they should, because you could be putting somebody else's life in danger.
Well, and then there's synonymous with crime a lot of times in those places, or synonymous with people being either mentally ill or on drugs that are often and that's just the stigma. It doesn't mean that everybody there is on or everybody has those problems, but that a lot of times is the problem as to why people are homeless.
Yeah.
So we're looking at here the types of emergency warning signals, and we saw one on last Saturday, literally while I was on the air. Those of you that were on, you saw the blue alert signal that came through. And Dr. Glenn, I was surprised. I didn't realize that it disrupted, and I want to say that to you, that if you are airing anything else, it will disrupt anything that has to do with the phone. That blue alert signal is just like the Amber Alert, and it comes through the phone. It doesn't matter if you're broadcasting something, it was right up there on the screen.
Yeah, and there's an active blue alert in progress as we speak in North Carolina.
And we also saw an Amber Alert today. We literally saw an Amber Alert today.
I did see that too. It came on my phone, my cell phone.
So it was so funny. A lot of students, they have their phones on them. And so I didn't hear it where I was because none of the faculty had their phones on, but it was heard in the hallways from the kids that had their phones in their bags.
Yeah. We have 6 minutes to go before we end the broadcast. So, Apostle, if you don't mind, let's go down and mention what the various alerts are. We might just have to do a broadcast on the emergency system entirely by itself. Apostle.
It said here for the next test for the Alert Carolina system includes a campus sirens is scheduled for spring of, and this is old, Dr. Glenn, because the dates are past. But they do those particular alert systems.
But it's annual. It's annual. That's why I put it on there. It's
okay.
Annual.
It's what?
Annual. Every year.
Every year. Okay. And so the missing endangered alert issue for a Pitt County man, because there's a different one for adults that are missing versus the Amber Alert.
Right.
And so it said this one on September 9th, a missing endangered alert for a 59-year-old in Charlotte. And so that one, Dr. Glenn, did we see that? I don't even think we heard that one, because Charlotte is like quite a, I mean,
That's another one that was
okay.
Previous. So yeah, I do remember that.
But a man on foot though, and how he gonna get 5 hours walking? I'm just saying, aren't we like 5 hours away? I just use logic. But anyhow, there was an alert for that particular one. I don't remember seeing it, Do you know what color it was, Dr. Glenn?
If I'm not mistaken, it might have been silver.
Okay, so there are a bunch of them. KNOAA, radio weather. This is where you can get weather radio, where you can get an alert. The wireless emergency alerts, and we know about those on the phone. Only approved government staff can send these messages. WEA messages are sent via cell towers, and these are the alerts from local government that will be sent through the phone. Dr. Glenn?
Here's what I want everybody to take heed to. Did you know there was an Ashanti alert? The Ashanti alert system, established in 2018 by President Donald Trump, was created in honor of 19-year-old Ashanti Billy, who was abducted and killed in Virginia. Ashanti alerts are issued to aid in the search for those between the ages of 18 and 64 who are missing. Ashanti alert.
There's a code green. This is a, well, that's the code blue. Some of these are for the hospital, I think, Dr. Glenn. Code red, code orange, and code green. Those are those that are activated inside of usually, and then silver, an active shooter. A code black is a bomb threat. And I think those are usually codes that they use inside of hospitals for that particular. And then organizational emergency alert system. And we need to look and see too about here. I don't think I've looked to see what the emergency plan is here, but I'm just gonna tell you, Dr. Glenn, that anything go down is every man for himself. I know where the door is. I will holler back at you, make sure you all right. But we need to look at that. The next step for the Alert Carolina system includes, I saw this, I started reading this, and this one is the FEMA national alert. It said Pitt County nationwide test of the emergency alert system. Wireless emergency alerts are scheduled for October. So we're going to see a nationwide emergency alert system, wireless emergency alert test scheduled for October 2025. So be on the lookout for that, because it's going to happen on everybody's phone here in next month, in October 2025.
And that one for Pitt County that you just mentioned, that's also a annual one that happens every October in Pitt County. I remember you said you received one last October, right?
Yes, I remember seeing that go off and not understanding what was going on.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it was.
Yes, so it's going to happen every year. This is also, it talked about FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, is not conducting, it said they are not conducting a nationwide test in 2025. But this is another broadcast alert, Federal Communications Commission. So this is about the Communications Commissions that's going to come in October. Hey, we know that we've given you some very good information on today, and we're grateful for you tuning in. We know that you were informed by many things. If you have any questions or comments about any of the documents and you'd like to see anything further, you can email Dr. Glenn, and he will give you the information from the documents. Dr. Glenn?
And ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget 2025 Pitt County Municipal Elections Candidate Forum, hosted by Awesome Radio Network and GPAT TV 23. All times, 6:30, meet and greet. Forums starts at 7 p.m. sharp to 9:30 p.m. All candidates have been invited. That'll be for Ayden, Grifton, Winterville, Farmville, Fountain, Bethel, and Greenville. You can go on to the Awesome Radio website at awesomeradionetwork.org, and you can click on the WECU link, and you can find out further information for the different forums. Apostle, let's end the broadcast at this time.
Yes. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. And I want to say, if you come to some of those forums, you might spot Dr. Glenn and myself at these particular events. Hey, thank you so much. We are glad that you are here, and we want to see you come back on next week. We're going to have another great show for you, and we're looking forward to you being here next week. Hey, God bless and God keep you is our prayer. This is the Glenn Johnson Show. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.